can have a goal set, which is really good, but there's also a danger of setting the goals, I think, and the danger comes about by you have, as I said with regards to the smoking, you have this unrealistic timeline which you're going to use to measure how successful you've been or not, and I think that creates a tremendous amount of unnecessary stress. But the goal that you're talking about, I think it's important if, as you've said, if you're able to fractionate it down into incremental stages and go, so I've got to this point, that's a success, and then that's a success, then the next step is a success, and then it becomes this cascading snowball event where the whole process becomes a lot more easier and a lot more enjoyable. Because if you're only able to determine whether or not you've been successful so far down the line, that can it's stressful even just to think about it. Can you imagine having a goal and you're not going to find out how well you've done until 6 months down the line, and you can't see or recognize any progress made along the way? That's going to be one difficult journey. So,
well, it's the same with I've learned to play the violin, and it seems like a mammoth task. But I just set small targets, and when it didn't go right, I kind of went, well, it's okay. If I just keep trying, I'll get there. But it wasn't so much about the getting there wasn't as important as the journey to get there, if you know what I mean. The taking the small steps. You're talking about success, and sometimes I think we overemphasize being successful. Meaning that if we don't achieve that goal, we've been unsuccessful, so we're not so good. Whereas quite often, being in the moment and enjoying the journey, and enjoying where that journey may take you, can actually be the most enjoyable part of the trip.
Yeah.
And you know, you kind of go, well, I don't want to get there too quickly because I'm enjoying this process.
Absolutely.
You know? And that kind of de-stresses you. I think that's what I find with playing the violin at the moment. So. And I think that's what I'm kind of getting from what you're saying is that if we, or maybe I'm wrong, but if we think constantly about being successful, we can be blind to things that happen around us that we maybe should be enjoying seeing, but are getting blinded because we've got this goal that we think we have to reach to be successful. Would that be something?
Yeah, absolutely. As you were saying that, one more thing about regards to goal setting. One of the difficult things regarding goal setting is that when you set a goal, you've got a criteria of which you can use to measure your success. But that's the exact same criteria to measure how unsuccessful you've been. So that's why when we set these mammoth tasks, we know exactly what it is that we need to do in order to get there. But in doing so, we also know by not doing that, that's the criteria for us to fail. And that can become daunting for so many people. So breaking it down, incremental stages is most certainly the way forward.
Excellent. Normally, because I'm a storyteller and I deal with timelines, I'd be sort of trying to work out where you want to go from here. But I'm not sure whether that's overly important, because I think the way that you're distressing people, taking that stress away from them, is actually getting them to be more in the moment. So it's actually really important to stay in that moment. But then, does that bring about problems in itself? If people get stuck in the moment, just they're enjoying themselves, what's the motivation then to move them forward?
Yeah,
I'm only just asking. It's just an interesting sort of thing to explore.
You see, it's okay, so we can be in the moment right now. We're in this moment, you and I in this conversation, and I'm not thinking about what it is I have to do later on or tomorrow or anything like that. But I don't think we live our lives. I know there's a massive movement around being in the moment, being in the now. There's a huge following of that train of thought. But I don't know what a moment is. Not to get philosophical about this, but I don't know to what length, what for you, what time scale would be in the moment.
I think that's difficult to know, because you know you can enjoy what's going on and explore and see where things are going, But then you do get the pressures of real life coming in that there's a point where you have to stop and then get on with what you need to get done.
Yeah.
To otherwise you could end up causing yourselves all kinds of problems, maybe financially, or missing the kids that you need to pick up from school. So being in the moment, you can enjoy those, but there probably needs to be a set time for how long that moment lasts.
Yeah. Well, some of the approach that I would take would be regarding just being aware of the present. That's important, but I think what's more important is how we go about explaining that. So one of the examples that I have used on many occasions is to go back to I'm very interested in the language that people use. So there, for example, you've just said, there's things that I need to do. I have to go pick up the kids. So there's this element of I need to, I must, or I have to. What's more important for me is not only just being in the moment, but it's the frameworks or the methodology in how we orientate ourselves in the world. And one of the ways in which we can do that is through the language that we use. And that's where I was saying about we have this terminology that we use a lot is I need to, I must, or I have to. And as I said, this puts us in this subservient position where we feel compelled that we have to take part in this particular thing. And that's a rough place to be. But in recognizing that there is not one thing, there's nothing written in stone somewhere that says that we must do anything. And I think that removes a lot of unnecessary stress. And if I was to sum up what it is that I do, the most important thing that I do is to assist in the removal of unnecessary levels of stress.
We have more on the way, so please subscribe to this channel and check out the link below if you'd consider becoming a patron to help us keep making more content. Thanks for watching.